Welcome to Revenge Files, where real stories, karma moments, and dramatic twists come alive. Today's story is one you won't forget. My name is Rachel, and I'm a 34-year-old single mother living in suburban Pennsylvania. I work as a hospital administrator, which means my schedule is demanding, unpredictable, and sometimes completely unforgiving. I have one daughter, Emma, who just turned 7 years old. She's my entire world, my reason for breathing, and the light that keeps me going through the darkest days. I never imagined I'd be doing this alone. Emma's father left when she was just 6 months old, citing that he wasn't ready for the responsibility. That's a nice way of saying he abandoned us. Since then, it's been just the two of us against the world. Well, I thought it was the three of us, because my mother, Patricia, lived only 15 minutes away. I believed she was part of our little support system. I was so wrong. It was a Tuesday morning in late February when I got the call. I was in the middle of a budget meeting with the hospital's finance department, surrounded by charts, spreadsheets, and exhausted colleagues who'd been working overtime for weeks. My phone vibrated on the table. I glanced down and saw it was Emma's school. My heart immediately sank. "Ms. Thompson, this is Nurse Kelly from Riverside Elementary. Emma has a fever of 102 degrees and has been complaining of severe stomach pain. She needs to be picked up immediately." I felt my chest tighten. I looked around the conference room at 7 pairs of eyes staring at me, waiting for me to continue my presentation. My boss, Mr. Henderson, was tapping his pen impatiently against his notepad. "I'll be there as soon as I can," I whispered into the phone, already gathering my papers. But I knew I couldn't leave. Not right then. We were in the middle of negotiating a multi-million-dollar equipment contract, and I was the only person who had all the details memorized. If I left, the entire deal could fall apart, and with it, dozens of jobs could be at risk. I did what I thought any daughter would do in an emergency. I called my mother. "Mom, please, I need your help," I said as soon as she answered, my voice barely holding back panic. "Emma's sick at school. She has a high fever and they need someone to pick her up right away. I'm stuck in a meeting that I absolutely cannot leave. Can you please get her, please?" There was a pause on the other end. A long, cold pause that made my stomach drop even further. "Rachel, I have plans today," my mother said, her voice flat and dismissive. "Mom, she's sick. She's only 7 years old and she's scared and—" "I'm not your babysitter, Rachel." The words hit me like a slap across the face. "What? Mom, this isn't babysitting. This is an emergency. Emma has a fever and she's in pain and—" "You chose to have a child. You chose to be a single mother. Those are your responsibilities, not mine. I raised you already. I'm done raising children." I couldn't breathe. "Mom, I'm not asking you to raise her. I'm asking you to pick up your sick granddaughter from school because I'm physically unable to leave my job right this second. It would take you 20 minutes, tops." I said, "No, Rachel. Figure it out yourself." And then she hung up. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to the dial tone, feeling like my entire world had just shifted on its axis. My own mother had just refused to help her sick grandchild. If you think Rachel's mom was justified, don't you dare subscribe to this channel. This story is only for people who understand loyalty and family. I had no choice. I excused myself from the meeting, drove like a maniac to Emma's school, and found my baby girl sitting in the nurse's office, pale as a ghost, tears streaming down her face. But here's the part that still makes my blood boil. When I asked Nurse Kelly what time she'd called me, she said it was at 10:45 a.m. I checked my phone. It was now 1:15 p.m. "Wait," I said, confused. "How long has Emma been waiting here?" Nurse Kelly's expression turned uncomfortable. "Well, Ms. Thompson, school policy requires that sick children wait outside the main building if they're not picked up within 30 minutes of the call. It's to prevent spreading illness to other students." My heart stopped. Outside? It's 38 degrees today. Are you telling me my daughter has been sitting outside in the cold? We provided her with a blanket, and she was supervised by our security guard. But yes, She's been on the bench outside the main entrance for approximately 2 hours. I looked at Emma, shivering under a thin school blanket, her lips slightly blue, her eyes red from crying, and something inside me broke. But it wasn't sadness anymore. It was rage. Pure, white-hot rage. Not at the school. They were following their protocol, however cruel it seemed. My rage was directed entirely at my mother, who was probably at home, comfortable and warm, completely unbothered by the fact that her 7-year-old granddaughter had been left to suffer in the cold for 2 hours because she couldn't be inconvenienced. I took Emma home, gave her medicine, held her while she cried, and made her chicken soup. That night, after she finally fell asleep, I sat at my kitchen table and made a decision. I wasn't going to argue with my mother. I wasn't going to yell or cry or beg her to be a better grandmother. I was going to do something much more effective. I was going to teach her a lesson about consequences. My mother, Patricia, had always been a woman who prided herself on her social status. She was president of her homeowners association, a member of 3 different charity committees, and a regular attendee at her church's women's group. Her reputation was everything to her. She loved being seen as the helpful, kind, generous woman who always had time for everyone. Everyone except her own granddaughter, apparently. But here's something most people didn't know about my mother. Her perfect life was held together by a very delicate thread. She relied on me for more things than she'd ever admit. I had been managing her finances for the past 3 years, ever since she'd nearly lost her house due to missed mortgage payments and credit card debt. She begged me to help her organize everything, and being the dutiful daughter, I'd taken over. I paid her bills online, managed her bank accounts, made sure her insurance premiums were current, and even handled her taxes. I also happened to be the emergency contact for literally everything in her life. Her doctors, her pharmacy, her home security company, her car insurance, her homeowners association, even her country club membership. She had made herself completely dependent on me, while simultaneously treating me and Emma like we were burdens. It was time to remove my support, all of it, quietly and completely. Over the next 3 days, I systematically removed myself from every aspect of my mother's life. First, I called her bank and removed myself as the authorized user on all her accounts. I explained that I would no longer be managing her finances and that all statements, alerts, and notifications should go directly to her. Then I contacted her mortgage company, her credit card companies, and her utility providers. I removed my name and my phone number from everything. I set up her online accounts with passwords that only she would know, sent her detailed instructions via email, and wished them all a good day. I called her doctor's offices and asked to be removed as her emergency contact. Same with her pharmacy, her insurance companies, and her home security system. I even called her homeowners association and resigned from the volunteer position I'd been covering for her because she didn't have time to fulfill her duties as president. By the time I was finished, Patricia was completely on her own for the first time in 3 years. I didn't tell her any of this. I just stopped answering her calls. The first call came on Friday evening. "Rachel, I'm getting all these strange emails from the bank about account changes. What's going on?" I let it go to voicemail. The second call came Saturday morning. "Rachel, pick up the phone. I need you to pay my electric bill. The website won't let me log in and I don't understand these stupid computers." Voicemail. The third call came Saturday afternoon, and this time her voice was different, panicked. "Rachel, please call me back. I got a notice from the mortgage company saying my payment is overdue, and I don't understand what that means. You always handle this. Please, I need your help." I almost felt sorry for her, almost. But then I remembered Emma, shivering on that bench, abandoned by the one person who should have protected her. I deleted the voicemail. Where are you watching this from, and what time is it right now? Drop it in the comments. And if you're Team Rachel, make sure you're subscribed because this story isn't over yet. Sunday, the calls had turned desperate. "Rachel, please, I'm begging you. My car insurance lapsed and I got pulled over and they impounded my car. I need you to fix this. Please, baby, please call me back. Monday morning brought a new level of chaos. Rachel, the HOA is threatening to fine me because I missed some deadline for paperwork that you were supposed to handle. They're saying I might lose my position as president. You know how important this is to me. How could you do this? Ah, there it was. The "how could you do this to me" line, as if I was the villain in this story. Tuesday afternoon, she finally showed up at my house. I watched from the window as she pounded on my door, her face red and blotchy from crying, her hair disheveled in a way I'd never seen before. Patricia, who never left the house without perfect makeup and a coordinated outfit, looked completely undone. Emma was at school, which was probably good. I didn't want her to see this. I opened the door but stood in the doorway, blocking her entrance. "What do you want, Mom?" "What do I want? What do I want?" Her voice was shrill, hysterical. "I want to know why you've destroyed my entire life. My bank accounts are frozen because I can't remember the passwords. My mortgage payment bounced. My electricity is about to be shut off. My car is impounded. The HOA is threatening to sue me, and you won't even answer my phone calls." I looked at her calmly. "I'm not your babysitter, Mom." Her face went white. She knew exactly what I was referencing. That's different. That was about Emma. This is about." "About you," I interrupted. "This is about you and your needs and your emergencies. Funny how when it's your emergency, family is supposed to drop everything and help. But when it's your 7-year-old granddaughter sitting in the freezing cold with a fever, you couldn't be bothered because you had plans." "Rachel, please." "Do you know what Emma asked me that night?" I continued, my voice getting stronger. "She asked me if Grandma didn't love her anymore. She asked me what she did wrong to make you hate her. I had to explain to my 7-year-old daughter that she did nothing wrong, that sometimes grown-ups make selfish choices, and that we can't rely on people just because they're family." Tears were streaming down my mother's face now. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I was having a bad day and I took it out on you and I shouldn't have, and..." "You left her outside in the cold for 2 hours, Mom. 2 hours. She could have gotten pneumonia. She could have gotten so much sicker. And you didn't care because you were too busy with your plans. So now you know what it feels like when the people you depend on decide you're not worth their time. Please, Rachel, I'll make it up to Emma. I'll make it up to both of you. Just please help me fix this mess. I don't know how to do any of these things without you." I took a deep breath. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. "Mom, I will help you, but only after you understand what needs to change." I invited her inside and sat her down at my kitchen table. I placed a piece of paper in front of her with a list of conditions. "If you want my help, these are the terms," I said firmly. She picked up the paper with shaking hands and read. 1. You will apologize to Emma in person and explain that your behavior was wrong. 2. You will attend family therapy with me so we can address these patterns of behavior. 3. You will be present and available for Emma at least twice a week. Regular visits, not just emergencies. 4. You will never, ever refuse an emergency call regarding Emma again, unless you are physically unable to help. 5. You will learn to manage your own finances and bills. I will teach you, but I will not do it for you." My mother looked up at me, mascara running down her cheeks, looking more vulnerable than I'd ever seen her. "I'll do it," she whispered. "All of it, I promise." It's been 6 months since that day. My mother has kept every single promise. She apologized to Emma with real tears and sincerity. Emma, being the forgiving angel she is, hugged her grandmother and told her she loved her. But Emma also told her, in her own 7-year-old wisdom, "Grandma, you really hurt my feelings. Friends don't leave friends in the cold." My mother attends therapy with me every other Wednesday. It's not always easy. We've uncovered a lot of pain, a lot of resentment, and a lot of patterns that go back to my own childhood, but we're working through it. She shows up for Emma now. Every Tuesday, she picks her up from school and they go to the park or get ice cream. Every Saturday morning, Emma goes to her house and they bake together. My mother has become the grandmother I always hoped she would be. And she's learned to manage her own life. She still calls me sometimes for help with technology or when she's confused about something, but she's independent now in a way she never was before. As for me, I learned something important too. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel. Demanding respect doesn't make you disrespectful. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them experience the consequences of their own choices. Now it's your turn. In the comments below, tell me the 3 major lessons you learned from this story. What would you have done differently? What did Rachel do right? What did she do wrong? And remember, if you believe family means showing up when it matters most, subscribe to Revenge Files for more real stories of karma, consequences, and the courage to stand up for yourself. Until next time, remember, revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just letting someone experience the life they created for themselves. Welcome to Revenge Files, where every story has a lesson and every lesson has a price.